against yourselves or your parents or your kin, and whether it be against rich or poor, for Allah can best protect both. That verse reminds us we should not accept to be bullied and silenced about our views, whether it's over this government's brutal foreign policy, whether it's over the condemnation of a government because it chooses to punish somebody who disrespects our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him. We have to stand up. Maybe, just maybe, by standing up for our faith, we will get justice. But when we look around the world at what's been happening, let's go over to France, for instance. Most of the feminist literature on the hijab, as I said before, equates the hijab with segregation and isolation of women. This view actually discriminates against the Muslim community as a whole. When Jacques Chirac ripped the hijab off the heads of French schoolgirls, the whole business was supposed to be one of equality. But it wasn't equality for women. It was one equality between French citizens and Muslims. The failure of Chirac and the French government to respect the religious rights of Muslim women is a failure of the French state to acknowledge equal citizenship. As I said before, the hijab is a hot issue. It's part of our business suit. It's part of our uniform. It tells people we are Muslim women and we demand respect. Don't offer us alcohol. Don't offer us a bacon sandwich. Don't hit on us. You want to talk to us about serious issues. If someone was to stop a businessman in Wall Street and say to him, why don't you chill out, why don't you take off that suit, put on a jeans and t-shirt, he would say, how dare you? This is my business suit. It tells you to take me seriously. So why do people have such an issue over the hijab? Another hot issue often thrown at us by our enemies is the fact that Saudi women can't drive or are not allowed to drive in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I was talking to a Saudi sister about this just last week. And she said, when King Abdullah came to the throne, he received 500 letters from sisters demanding the right to drive. Apparently, he also received 5,000 letters from sisters saying, we're quite happy with being chauffeured around. And when you think about it, in the West, what is a big sign of success? Having your own chauffeur. So why is it that Bill Gates, Donald Trump, members of governments and the royal family can be chauffeur-driven around, but nobody says, isn't it terrible, they can't drive? I understand that the laws are about to change or may change later this year or next year, and Saudi women will be allowed to drive in their country. I actually feel sorry for them because, having seen the way Saudi men drive, I wouldn't want to get behind the wheel of a car over there. But people make this mistake that Saudi women are silent, oppressed creatures. Let me tell you, every Saudi woman I have met has been very strong, is ready to launch, is ready to take part 110% in that society. And when the doors are finally opened, I know that they will be rushing out. But what is more interesting is a lot of the Saudi men will be supporting them. That society is not that polarized, but the Western media likes to create this image that there is a polarization of views there. As I said before, this speech was largely about standing up for Islam, because we have many, many enemies out there who will try and pull down and ridicule our great faith. But let me finish off on a high note. A couple of years ago, I was lucky enough to perform Hajj. And when I got back to London, my friend said to me, "What was the most spiritually moving moment for you? Was it seeing the Kaaba for the first time? Was it seeing the tomb of the Prophet, peace be upon him?" And I said, actually, one day I was running late for prayer, and I heard the call, and I grabbed my prayer mat and I went to the lift at the hotel I was staying at and went down. The hotel was on a hill. I ran outside and ran down these cobbled streets and dived through some side streets, leaping down steps, 2, 3 at a time, not at all gainly, and ran round a corner for the last final dash to get into the masjid on time. And as I hurtled round the corner with my prayer mat, preparing to sprint, there in front of me was a sea of chaos. Tens of thousands other brothers and sisters, all late for prayer, all pushing and shoving, all trying to get into the Grand Masjid at the same time. We didn't have a chance. And in the throng, the brother to my right, I couldn't understand a word he was saying. I don't know what language he was speaking in. The sister to my left was speaking in Urdu. I recognized it. She came from my favorite country, Pakistan, my second home. And we couldn't understand each other. There were so many different languages swirling through the air, many different nationalities, maybe 50, 60 different nationalities, many different skin colors. And we were all pushing and shoving, trying to get in time for prayer, and the first prayer began. Within 2 or 3 seconds, out of this total chaos came a unity I had never witnessed before. Within 2 or 3 seconds, we had snapped into regimental lines. Any regimental sergeant major would have been proud of these lines that we broke into. Those of us with prayer mats put them down on the street, on the pavements. Those of us without just stood. And we all faced in the one direction, and we all prayed to the one God. And I thought about that incident shortly afterwards, and I thought, there we were, praying in the one direction to the one God. I couldn't understand the brother to my right or the sister to my left a few seconds ago, but now we all understood what we were saying. We all spoke in the same language. We all spoke the same language of prayer to the one God, one really united. And I just thought to myself, if we can achieve this out of chaos in a matter of seconds, imagine if we got that discipline and pulled together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Imagine how strong we would be. Imagine how people would respect us. Allah's army, the strongest, largest, most disciplined